There we go. I think this movie was not made for me. Like, oh, where do I begin? So, last month I would have done a CineVlog on the new Rocky Horror Picture Show movie, but when I was watching it, there were problems that happened. I kept on getting asked to help out a couple of folks of mine here and there, and then a few other errands had to be run. So I was in between that and trying to watch it, and I couldn't follow it. So I eventually just sort of gave up on it. Even to the point where I was just playing it in the background when I was doing bills, like midway through the movie, because I had to stop it at one point to drive somebody somewhere. So I pretty much gave up on that. It's pretty much forgettable as we speak, except for the corpsey look of post-stroke Tim Curry, who I really feel bad for now. But it was... There were two TV movies that I knew I was going to do a video on. One of it got aborted. This one, on the hand, didn't. And of all the things, it had to be Legends of the Hidden Temple. You know, I'll give it this much. It's trying. It's like really, really trying. But what limits it is that it's made for television. So obviously they're going to scale things back for its network standards, and not to mention the low budget they had. But then again, the production value is actually not that bad. Like, at least the temple looks cool and awesome. It looks like you could actually go in and visit it, even though it's like something to the equivalency of like a cheap Universal attraction or some sort of ride. And at least it looks nice, and it's well designed. So at least there's scenes I can pick apart here and say, okay, this is something I can definitely see from the game show. Like, they have Medusa's lair with all the snakes, and like the room there with the shrine of the silver monkey, and the fact that you got to put the pieces together to unlock the door. The treasure room. They have what's his name? Bradley Baker, who voiced Olmec in the TV show. He's in here, reprising Olmec, who's apparently a giant CGI head instead of a puppet head. They get Kevin Fogg, the host, and at least he's actually not that bad of an actor. He's actually not that bad. He's a little jokey in his first appearance, and then he actually gets serious, even though some of his lines are a little cliche. Oh, they can't destroy this temple. It's protected by a golden force field. Like, what? Who wrote this? It's... Oh my god. Like, I can't say it's not a Legends of the Hidden Temple movie, like Gem and the Holograms was failing to be a Gem and the Holograms movie. So at least there's parts where they can say, okay, I can see it working in this way, but then there's parts of it where it's like, it's so goofy and in-jokey and cliche that it really hampers with the enjoyment. I don't know if it's trying to be intentionally bad, or if it's just really trying to be this fun little film. And I can see exactly the target audience it's going for. It's obviously trying to cater to people who grew up with the show, like myself, and even people who have not seen the show. So there's a lot of explaining about things like, oh, why does it take 3 minutes to just get the pennant and piece together and stuff? Oh, because everything will go back to the way it is, or some Bolshevik like that. Come to think, I should probably refrain from swearing just in case there's little kids watching this. The more I think about it. Mommy, the man on the internet said a bad word. My goodness. Then again, I'd be surprised if kids watch my vlogs. Or even my show for that matter. I'd be really surprised if they did. No. Okay, so this movie was announced back in March. And I remember getting like really curious about it. Like, okay, this could actually be interesting. I grew up on the show. Um, I was big into Nickelodeon game shows. I still like Nicktoons, but the game shows I thought were fun because you get to see actual kids playing the games. It's not like Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune where you're seeing like a 30-year-old winning a car and going, "Oh my god, I solved the puzzle!" But I think what really made Nickelodeon game show special is that you kind of saw the younger crowd, these young kids as contestants and doing their thing and getting into it, and the games were specially designed for that kind of target audience, for that crowd. You had Double Dare and Family Double Dare, which was great for, you know, families and such, and the fact that you saw parents getting into the goopy, messy stuff, and even the question and such. You had Wild and Crazy Kids, which was a lot of fun. What Would You Do, which I guess was trying to be like, whose line is in anyway for kids in a sense. I vaguely remember that one. All I remember is like the set and like having this giant eye that opened and closed a couple of times. But I think the three that stood out to me more, aside from Double Dare, which was a great show, the three that stood out to me were Wienerville, because of the puppets, and the other one was, of course, Legends in the Temple, but Nick Arcade was a good one, too. I like the fact that they were going into video games and stuff in the final round and battling all these wizards. It's obvious to know exactly how it was done, obviously green screen and such, but wouldn't that make like a better TV movie than this? Just kids going into like an old arcade. I can just imagine kids going to an old arcade game and getting sucked into the video games. Like, oh no, we can't get on to beat like the final boss. Oh no, it's Mikey the Bully. 3 years from now, they're probably going to do that. I'm just saying it right now. 3 to 5 years, they're going to make a Nick Arcade movie. Especially after what they did with this one. My goodness. I could have seen Moana. I could have seen Fantastic Beasts somewhere to find them. But unfortunately, it's not Bargain Tuesday. So what do? I stay home and watch Legends of the Hidden Temple, the TV movie. That's how pathetic I am. I'll probably do Moana later in the week. So, the plot of this movie is pretty generic. These three kids are on vacation. One is like, the super serious sister has to take care of the kids. And then you have the two brothers, the one that's all like a big fan of this thing, like, oh my god, Legends of the Temple, and they're going this... Oh yeah, and the other kid is, I guess, like... He doesn't have much of a personality, other than the fact that he likes animals. Like, even later on within the temple, he's like, oh yeah, I talk to animals, And he's, like, communicating with like, this little green monkey. There wasn't really much of a personality there for him. Outside of being, like, the silly, goofy one that gets all wide-eyed and scared. Maybe he's the shy one? I don't know. So they go to this amusement park, which is pretty much just this giant temple, and all these, like, spas and food vendors and stuff, and it's pretty much just Kevin Fogg, who's pretty much just doing a tour of the outside of the temple. How are they getting money for this thing? Again, not to pick apart too much, because obviously it's a TV movie and it's trying to be for the kids crowd. But wouldn't it be like other rides of this kind of thing, like a roller coaster or something? No, it's just it's just the temple, and you see like vendors for hot dogs and snow cones and stuff. Oh yeah, it's Hidden Temple Park. Sorry, it's trying to be like I guess Jurassic Park or something. Only instead, people are getting ticked off by the fact that they're not seeing dinosaurs. It's like they can't get inside this giant temple, and it's just Ken Fogg walking around the temple and just showing him like different areas and stuff and throwing pendants. Oh yeah, the pendant of life. So the main kid, I forgot their kids' names. I'm just gonna call them by they are because that's how cliche this script is. You can tell who they are just by personality. I barely remember their names. That's how bad this is. So the generic main hero kid, talks to Kevin Fogg, and at the very least, it shows that Kevin Fogg is actually not that bad of an actor. Like, at first, when he's being the tour guide and stuff, he's obviously jokey and stuff. But when he's actually trying to be whimsical and serious, he's actually not that bad. Like, going into how he hosted the whole park thing, there's a couple of in-jokes here and there. Like, at one point he said, "Kid, I've been hosting since 1995," which, alright, that's when the show ended, so it does make kind of sort of sense why he opened this little theme park here. Um, uh, So apparently he has this map that goes into that's all about the interiors of the temple, and he claims it's cursed, and the only way to lift it, I guess, is to like get this penitent of life that's split in two. And the only way to lift the curse, I'm not making this up here, is to locate the two halves of the penitent, piece them together in the spot where you found them, and then you have to go from where you were all the way back to the start within the time span of 3 minutes to try and get rid of the curse. I know that was part of the show, but at the same time, I'm just thinking to myself, wouldn't it be a whole lot easier if you just found the two halves, walked over to where you're supposed to go, piece them together, and be like, "Oh, you have 3 minutes." Voom. Oh, that was actually kind of easy. Oh my goodness. So the kids get trapped in the temple, and they meet Olmec, who is, of course, voiced by D. Bradley Baker, I think his name is, who's, from the original show. Which, to give this movie credit, again, he's from Legends of the Hidden Temple. He's the original voice, so at least I can give this film credit where it's due for trying to be just like the show. So they find Olmec, and he's a giant CGI creation. Alright, fine. And much like in the game show, there's the Steps of Knowledge, where you go down the steps and proceed into the temple. The only thing they nixed was the trivia questions. Wouldn't that be kind of interesting, where right after he tells the myth of the historical item they're trying to find, people are like, before you go through the golden, before you walk down the steps, you must answer me these riddles 3. They skipped that part because it's so filler. But no, apparently the legend of this whole thing is that he used to be a king in his time, and there were these two brothers, and he was going to give this, pendant to one of his sons, the good son, to show that he is, good and all that stuff, like the Kitty King, and this evil brother comes in and tries to take it with his evil temple guards, which, again, to this movie's credit, when the production quality looks good, it actually looks good. So they go in, the pendant is destroyed, and so Olmec decides to freeze everyone in the temple. So the evil brother has one half of the pendant, and the good brother has the other half of the pendant. And apparently the curse can't be lifted until the two halves are discovered by someone else and pieced together. This... I'm sorry, it's just, this movie was not made for me. I shouldn't be talking about this. Oh, hang on, low battery. So yeah, so these kids have to go through the temple, find the two halves, and put the halves together and restore the temple, and lift the curse, apparently. And it's funny because when Olmec put the spell on the whole temple, it froze all the inhabitants to stone. And I'm actually kind of surprised that it didn't make me I'm actually surprised that for once we don't have that cliche where when someone gets unfrozen after being centuries and centuries and centuries of being encased under rubble, that obviously the first question you ask is, where am I? What year it is? What am I doing? No. When they find the first villain, when they find the evil brother who's Zach, I think it is, Thak, whatever. When he's holding like the one half of the pendant, and they remove it from him. I like how the minute he unfreezes along with his guards, his first thing on his mind is, Get the pennant! It's not, who are you kids? What am I doing here? What year is it? Okay, okay, I know it's supposed to be a movie. You're not supposed to question movie, but come on, really? It's the first thing he does is just chase after them instead of wondering what year it is. Because even by the end of the movie, you see all the people in the temple unfrozen and stuff, and they're just walking around like, oh, the curse is lifted, the curse is lifted, the curse is lifted. You wouldn't even think for a second glance that one of them would look outside and see like a hotel resort. And the first thing that came to mind was, whoa, I don't remember building that kind of pyramid. I'm actually surprised the writing didn't go in that route. Like, I know what kind of movie it's trying to be. I've seen movies like this before, good and bad, like Super Mario Brothers, and I'm trying to think of, well, I haven't seen the Brady Bunch in a while, so I'm going to have to give that one a revisit. But it's just the fact that they're taking the original source, and not only they're making a story out of it, and trying to make it close to the source, but at the same time they're trying to be very jokey and cool about it. Like, oh yeah, this was in the show, so we got to reference that, or oh, this was here, so we got to reference this. I'm actually surprised they don't have the tomb of King Mom, the tomb of the King and Queen, because I was really hoping to see that there. Like, if this is trying to be as close to Legends in the Temple there is, they would have at least incorporated like nearly all the rooms, but at least we had the popular ones. I'm surprised they nixed the armory one. That would have been a fun one to do. Just okay, in the armory room, if I remember correctly, there's 3 suits of armor, and you get into one, and it somehow unlocks a door. Well, one of them has a temple guard behind it. That would have really been a very tense and there would actually have been a great suspenseful scene there. Instead, what we get is the bog of quicksand, the one where they have to swing on a vine to the next room. There's like a pile of leaves and stuff down there. There's the Medusa's lair. There's the Shrine of the Silver Monkey. That's a popular one. And they have this running gag where apparently they can't piece all the 3 pieces together, and it takes them like 8 freaking hours to finally figure it out. Because at one point, when they're trying to piece the pieces together, it cuts to a title card that says 4 hours later. I'm not kidding you. This is like something out of SpongeBob. It says 4 hours later, and it cuts to them and they're like, ugh, it's 3 a.m., we might as well give up. Like, how long have you been working on that thing? There are parts where they do try and incorporate some of the mini games in the movie, which is fine. Which at least works in a sense, like where they try to get across the moat and stuff, and they're getting chased by the bad guys. And then there's stuff like when they're trying to like get to the treasure room and they have to step on like certain stones and stuff. Maybe that was in the original show. I can't remember exactly where, but I know that the moat one was definitely in the show. The fact that you're on this raft and you're trying to get across, and there's like this rope that's kind of between 2 trees over the moat, and you have to get across by pulling on and stuff. You can't fall over. I know that's definitely in the show. The way they do the references to like the different colored teams, I don't know if this is smart, clever, or stupid. But once in a while they'll have things pop up like, oh, a green monkey. Oh, a red jaguar. Oh, we're getting attacked by blue barracudas. Oh, look at that purple parrot that got incinerated by the invisible wall. There is a force field around the temple. A golden force field. And the only means of that is just to keep the adult characters out so the kids can have their little adventure. Again, I don't know if that's trying to be smart or intentionally silly or stupid. So we have the parents outside worrying about where they went, and then Kevin's like, oh, they went to a restricted area, they're trying to figure out things at the temple. We don't believe you, and then the police come in, they're trying to blow up the temple. No, first they use jackhammers, and the jackhammers don't work. That would have been an interesting scene to show. Just show like all the hammers bent and stuff. No, they're just at the door, jackhammering into it, and see like the golden invisible force field react to it. And apparently these police guys are so inept that they have to hire this southern bomb expert who literally has a match in his mouth and a red hat and a vest and this like cliched rock 70s t-shirt. Be like, oh yes, I'm a bomb expert, we'll get your kids out of there. They at least got 3 minutes to so he puts the thing of dynamite in front of the door that has the timer on it. Just like in the which is an excuse to just have the timer from the TV show on it. Them kids better get away from the blast, or otherwise in 3 minutes it's gonna blow up. I'm not mad at this movie, but the way they're trying to incorporate stuff from the TV show is either so poorly executed to the point it's just so laughable. I know, it's a TV movie. Let your brain out the door. But, oh my goodness, I grew up on the show. And at least the level of campiness was at least enjoyable was enjoyable. Because again, you knew it was a game show. You knew kids were participating in doing all these mini games, and it was kind of cool because you wanted to be there. It gave you the idea of, okay, this is adventure, and you actually want to be here. And when you take that and turn it into a movie, it's either going to go so wrong, or it's going to be so ridiculous that it's going to be hard to accept it for what it is. The special effects are very iffy in a sense. Like, again, it's a nice looking temple. When you see these sets, they look good. They look like really, really good. There's obviously some CGI, but it's a TV movie, so I can kind of let that pass. I'm surprised they had enough money to make a CGI waterfall, even if it looks fake, just so they could have the villain's temporary demise, and yet not show how he lived being dropped down a 50-foot waterfall. Apparently. Like, I don't hate this movie or anything. It's not bad. Obviously, it wasn't made for theaters. Hell, I'm surprised I got a TV spot for it when I was watching Fantastic Beasts: Where to Find Them. Like, literally, before the trailer, there was, like, Mazda commercial, and then Legends of the Hidden Temple. Watch it this Thanksgiving weekend. Like, I really don't know. I really don't know how to categorize this one, because obviously, its heart is in some kind of place. It's obviously trying to channel a lot of the game show, like right down to the different rooms they have, the gameplay with the different mini games and stuff like that, and how they're incorporating that into the adventure, and the fact that the hero kid has to go through all those rooms again in 3 minutes just to get this pendant to Olmec to restore the entire temple to its total glory. You really have to be super quick or have eaten a bowl of Wheaties in order to get through this stuff again. And this is like a long journey. Like, we're talking about going from the treasure room to these 2 other rooms, the Shrines of a Monkey and the Lair of Medusa, and then across this moat, and then back through the other main entrance of the temple, where there is, like, the catacombs there when they're getting split up earlier on in the movie when they're being chased by the guards, the debogged room of quicksand, and then over that little chasm where there's that red jaguar down there, and then back into the main room. That, either you're a really good sprinter, or there's absolutely no way you'd make it across. Hell, there's even one moment before the main kid does that, after he puts the pendant together in the treasure room. He gets this gear on, just like the kids in the game show with the actual golden helmet and the elbow pads. Ugh. Oh yeah, and apparently one of them gets a green monkey shirt because early in the movie he gets a little sad over the fact that no one is taking it seriously, or even he feels disappointed that the whole park is becoming a bit of a joke, and yet Ken Fogg is a little disappointed as well because the legend is like true and no one takes him seriously. So his brother gets him a green monkey shirt and has him put it, and he puts it on, I guess, for no reason because it was in the game show, so we gotta have that. Even right down to how the contestant looks with the helmet and the pads, because earlier in the movie the father gives him this backpack full of gear to keep him safe, and it's really stuff that obviously they use later on, but even you wouldn't even expect to give to a kid like bear spray. Who in their right mind would create something like that? Oh, I feel like I'm being too hard on this. I'm being way too hard on this. Let me just say I've not seen any reviews for this. I have not seen any reviews for this at all because I don't want to get like a biased impression. But I can definitely see where the fun of this is in there. It is a big in-joke of a film. Even right down to the ending where the kids get out of the temple and the dynamite expert is all like, oh, you know, I feel bad for your kids, the fact that I nearly blew you up. Here, have some tickets to space camp. Like in the game show, they give him this awesome, cool prize. I'm surprised it wasn't a boombox or a VCR player. Or cheap whistle pops. Like they would give away in Double Dare. That's how bad I am. That's how sad and pathetic my life is. I actually remember these things. And just how simplistic they were. It's like it's like being held hostage at a bank and just being offered a trip to Bermuda or just a cash prize equipped to get you to the Bahamas. Oh man, and then they have that little hint at the end where it's like, oh yeah, I want to come back here again. Yeah, after lifting a curse. What other reason is there? Because you see Kevin at the end going into the temple, because earlier he said, you know, I had a chance to, you know, endorse its riches or something, and yet I didn't. So in whimsical fashion, he goes in there at the end, and the doors close, and yet no one questions exactly what is in this thing. It's just, oh, we're getting these kids out of the temple. And yet when the door even opens, not a single one of them thinks to peek inside and see this revived civilization. But again, I'm being too hard on it. It's obvious this wasn't made for me. I like jungle adventure movies like Congo, and earlier this year we had Legends of Tarzan, and even though it was trying to be a big blockbuster kind of film, there were things plugged into it that just didn't work. And don't get me wrong, I like those kind of movies. I like jungle adventure films, you know, like Anaconda, Congo, because they're fun to get into, because very rarely do those kind of movies come up. It's a trek through the jungle. All these dangers happen. You know, Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I like it for the aspect that it's silly and goofy, and it's obviously not trying to take itself too seriously. The closest one I can think of that literally takes itself seriously is the Indiana Jones movies, because they're dealing with the mythology of this artifact, and they play it so straight to a point, it feels so believable. And I like those kind of films too, but I have not seen another one other than Raiders of the Lost Ark that's kind of like that. The only one that I thought was way too jokey was King Solomon's Mines with Alan Quartermain. I think, like, that's the closest one I can think of to where it's way too jokey to the point I can't accept its ridiculousness. There is literally a scene in that movie where someone chucks a stick of dynamite, and the shop owner, they're in the shop, and they're trying to get a clue to find, I guess, the treasure to King Solomon's Mine. And there's a scene where one of them accidentally lights a stick of dynamite and throws over a thing of mattresses. And the shopkeeper, literally, I'm not kidding here, walks up to the thing of mattresses, grabs a stick of dynamite, and yells, "I've got it!" And he blows up with the dynamite. Oh my goodness. That movie's too stupid for its own good. It was a canon film then. And so that becomes the running joke. I got it! I might have to watch that again, now that I think about it. It's stupid, but, brother. I really have nothing else left for Legends of the Hidden Temple. It is what it is. It's not made for me. It's obviously trying to go for the younger crowd. It's very in-jokey, and it's obvious. But I can give it at least the success-sing benefit that it's really trying to be a Legends of the Hidden Temple movie. There's a lot of references to the game show. They have the host. They have Olmec. So it's clear that they're really trying to make it enjoyable and fun. But the cliched characters, the corny dialogue, it really keeps me away from really saying, hands down, this is a good movie. You know, younger kids will definitely like it. Fans will definitely be biased like myself. But at least it wasn't that irritating as I thought it would be. The only two things that were really irritating for me was the annoyance of our main leads, like the sister, who's very on about trying to be very protective of her brothers, like, I have to watch you too, and you two are in here, blah, 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 and just the way the dialogue is. And then when they get into the temple, it picks up a little, where they're going through all the dangers and the perils and stuff. But even then, because it's a TV movie, you're going to have commercials. And even if they are limited commercials, you have that little jokey bumper where it's like, oh, they ran into this trap. What's going to happen? Keep on watching. And that happened every 10 minutes. Into this film, every 10 minutes. Because obviously without those commercials, it's a 70-minute movie. Which is kind of sad. And then, of course, we have a commercial for monster trucks in there, because that's coming out soon. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that one. I really can't say much else. Maybe I'm being too hard on it. Maybe I should just take my brain out and see it for what it is. But even then, there's stuff that, when it's done right, like Ash vs. Evil Dead. Because that has the advantage of using original ideas from its source and just flying with it, or even going over the top with it. Maybe I'm being too hard on it because it's been a difficult month. It's just... it's Legends of the Hidden Temple. What else can I say about it? What do you want from me? At least there wasn't anything morally bad. That's one good thing I can say about it. There's no bad morals or anything. It's just trying to be this fun little movie, and yet there's so much silliness in here where I really can't tell if it's trying to be so bad it's good, or if it's just trying to be like this really in-jokey reference to everything from the TV show. Which, okay, that's fine. But you really gotta have enjoyable characters that aren't that irritating, and at the very least, a plot that is not so coked out of its mind like this. At least it's simple. That's a positive. It's not the worst thing of the year. It's not as bad as Medea Halloween bad, or Batman vs. Superman bad. It's just... it is what it is. And that's all I got. Yeah, that's really about it. Something I probably should have also pointed out earlier, not just, earlier, but more like, in my videos earlier. As you know, I've been trying to get my novel off the ground. I wrote it last year in the summer. and I've had some difficulty trying to find an agent. I'm up to about 102 declines, and it's been a whole year, or at least I started back in summer, so vaguely it's over a little bit of a year. I have it published on inkjet.com for you to view. There's a limited number of previews and such. I think they give like 100 digital copies, and once those are gone, they consider it to be whether it should be published or not. By all means, I'll put a link down here in the comments section or somewhere, or maybe even in this video somewhere. Please take the time to read it, review it, share amongst the group. I'm really trying to get this out there as good as I can, because I think it's a great story. It's, if you want to get an idea what it's about, it's very Harry Potter, Ray Bradbury-ish. But I can assure you, it is really good. There might be one or two spelling grammar mistakes, but I hope that doesn't hamper from the enjoyment. It's probably a lot more fun than this thing I sat through. And of course, check out Vaulting on ManicExpression.com. We have classic episodes from half of Season 3 all the way to Season 4. I'm going to try and re-upload all of Season 5 next month, even some bonus videos here and there that have been hammering around in my archives for a long time. I can also give the confirmation that Season 6 of Vaulting will continue. It won't be until next year, but not that long of a wait as you hoped. Me and James, who collaborated on the next episode, which has been kicking around for a long time, are shooting for an early 2017 kind of release, so do look out for that when it happens. I'll try to get a couple more videos out next month, maybe 2 more CineVlogs, and one that I've been meaning to do for quite some time. So they're going to be, for the vlogs, it's going to be Moana and obviously Star Wars. If I can do a few more after that, I'd be very surprised if I can. So that's all I got, and until then, see you whenever. Just... yeah, I'm done.